Okay, our winning crew chief has joined us here in the media center. That's Steve Letarte. He's crew chief for the number 88 National Guard Chevrolet over at Hendrick Motorsports. Steve, congratulations. Joined by his daughter, Ashley. And congratulations, Steve. Heck of a win for the 88 team here at Martinsville. And certainly that car, I think Dale said the other day, maybe in the third practice, you all really kind of found something there maybe. And maybe just talk about this win. And I know it's a special win for you.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I was able to win my first race here as a crew chief with Jeff. This place is always special, obviously, to the Hendrick family and everyone who works at Hendrick Motorsports. Who, you know, I guess we all consider ourselves part of the Hendrick family, so this place is special. So to come here and win is great. Really, since Dale and I have worked together, he's always talked about this place, and it's just different when he talks about it. It kind of has that twinkle that he really wants that clock. There's something about it. There's certain trophies in this sport that have remained the same, and they're just different, and you want to have one. And this is one that I was fortunate enough to have, and now I was fortunate enough to work with Dale and get him his first. And it was just a great day. It was a hard-fought day. There was a lot of beating and banging really all through the field. I think we saw more catastrophic style crashes. You know, you see a lot of sliding around here, but today we saw more real serious crashes than we've really ever seen. And I think that's what the sport has created. It's stressful. It's high pressure. It's what we want. And it was good. It was exciting to come out on top. I got to babysit because Mrs. Letarte didn't come. So she stayed at home with Tyler, who had a race today. So my son raced today. So little Ashlyn got to spend the weekend with me. So I got to keep on my duties.
Multitask. All right, we'll take questions now for Steve Letarte. Start here with Jeff Gluck.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. How often have you heard Dale Jr. talk about the clock? I mean, how often has he brought it up that he wants a clock that bad?
Well, he brings it up basically, anytime Martinsville's in the conversation. It's a place that we thought we were there. Man, we led this race. I can't remember what year it was, under 10 laps to go, and we just weren't good enough, and we got beat. And this place he talks about a lot. Whenever we talk about coming to Martinsville, I think Martinsville is a high conversation at our company. You know, we prepare for this race like most people prepare for the big Brickyard. You know, there's a reason that all of our cars run well here, and it starts with Mr. Hendrick, and right behind him it comes to our drivers who they study it, they understand it, they believe it, they work very hard at it. You know, it's not by chance. We just don't have some lucky drivers that are good here. They work very hard to be good here, and I think that just trickles through the organization. So he talks about winning a clock a lot, so now hopefully when I'm at his house having a cold one, we'll listen to the thing chime here 10 years from now and smile.
Mark Garrow.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Steve, how hard was it to make that call at the end to pit for tires?
It wasn't hard to make, but it was nerve-wracking to watch. Tires were very important, without a doubt. They were important all day. We kind of saw it earlier in the race. We pitted with about 17 or 18 laps on our tires and got back to the lead pretty quickly. The 11 did it with 12 laps on everyone else's tires. So we knew tires were important. It's just we were sitting, we have like a private channel, my engineer and I, next to one another because of the noise on our intercom, and we were having a conversation, and basically it came down to if you pit and no one else does, you lose. If you stay out and everyone else pits, you lose. So how would you feel better losing? And we decided we'd feel better losing with tires. So then we just put tires on it. And luckily we had a lot of lap down cars between us and like fourth or fifth. So as long as we had a decent stop, we thought we would maintain some decent track position. And then Dale has to go out and do what he did. And that makes the pit call look good, which I appreciate him doing.
Other questions? How about press box? Questions for Steve Letarte. All right, back downstairs, Brad, front row, and then Bob.
Brett Norman, NASCAR.com. Steve, you guys were fast the past three races, but maybe didn't get the results. Now that you're back in victory lane and you've gotten the win, is there any way to not kind of wonder what if over the past three races?
No, not at all. In my opinion, I thank NASCAR for the new chase because we went to Charlotte and Talladega with an opportunity to advance in the chase. And if it was the chase last year when we blew a tire at Kansas, we were eliminated. And that's how I look at it. We blew an engine last year at Chicago, probably put the 9 best races we could put together, and we had a hope and a prayer making 4th in points leaving Homestead. I think we got the 5th. So I look at it the opposite. I look at it, they've established a platform and an opportunity that when we left Kansas as deflated as we felt, we could go to Charlotte and make our own destiny, make our own opportunity, make our own chances, and we didn't do that. We 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 faltered when we needed to run the best. So there's no excuses. I think that's how a team gets better, when you don't make excuses. We're eliminated because we didn't perform as good as well as we needed to stay in the chase. But I think more than anything, what I'm proud of is the fact that we were eliminated, 7 short days ago. This team, you wouldn't have known it. You would have known it Monday morning. Other than disappointment, which is natural, this team performed. They came to work. They were ready to go when we showed up here, and you wouldn't know whether we were the championship leader or eliminated from the chase when you walked in the garage Friday, and I think that showed on Sunday afternoon.
Bob?
Bob Cockers, Sporting News. Did you guys do you do anything in Victory Lane here to commemorate 10 years ago? And can you just talk about how you feel when you see Rick Hendrick walk into this place?
Well, to the first part of your question, we don't do anything different here than we do. We handed out our decals that we run, which are important to all of us. But other than the decal, every Victory Lane I've ever been a part of since the accident, we make sure we wear our Hendrick hat backwards one time for a picture. Some of the newer guys, I think they kind of understand why we get it, but when you look around, there's a group of us that have been here a long time, and I think we really get it. And then when you see Rick, you just, I read the article that I think Marty wrote, and Rick's quote really hit home, where he said, he had seen and met parents who had lost loved ones for so long, and said, he tried to console them and try to put himself in his shoes, and until he lost one of his own, he had no idea, and he wishes he could go back to each and every one of those and say, I really didn't know. And I think I look at it the same way. I'm blessed to have a great family with 2 healthy children, and those are the lessons that people that work for Rick Hendrick learn. It's not about winning Martinsville or managing money or managing budgets or hiring people. Those are all good things he does, but the great things he does, very few people write about, because they're hard to write about. They're hard to understand. And I can say after 20 years, I'm a way better person for knowing Rick Hendrick than I ever was when I started employment there.
Any other questions for Steve? Steve, congratulations on this victory here today, and enjoy it, and we'll see you at Texas.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than no hot dog. No. I just walked up there, and they handed them to me. I just wanted to tell them I got a clock.
That's what you get for winning here. Okay, we're going to hear from our race winner of today's 66th annual Goody's Headache Relief Shot 500, and that's Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he drives the number 88 National Guard Chevrolet, and he drove that thing to Victory Lane here today. Got himself a grandfather clock, and this is his first win at Martinsville Speedway, and his 23rd win overall, his 4th win in 2014. Dale, congratulations. This has to be one of the big ones for you.
It sure is. I love the history of the sport and just can't get enough of like all these pictures on the wall in here. I just know this place has a special meaning and a special place in the series and in the sport. We've been coming here so many years. I've been coming here since the early 80s watching races here, and Dad won several races here, brought home several clocks. I remember one in particular that sat at the front door and in the hall by the stairs, and had this little round rug right in that hallway that I'd race my little Matchbox cars on, listen to the race on the Motor Racing Network, and that clock would ring on the hour. I always wanted one, and I came close, I think, several times. We had some good finishes here. Even with the Tony Sr. and Tony Jr. in the Bud days, we had some pretty quick cars here. And several races I think the car should have won, but the driver didn't. And it all worked out. Everything has to, I know by running here so many times that everything has to go right for you. Really at pretty much every race you win, it all has to fall into place. And everything was hitting on all cylinders. We had amazing pit stops. We had really smart, good, aggressive strategy by Steve. And the engineers there were giving him great information, giving him confidence to make good choices. And at the end, we had to get the right things had to happen on that restart to get by those guys, and it just sort of did. So I couldn't believe it. I still really can't believe it because the clock seems so hard to get. So this is so special, and I try not to get too caught up in the emotion of it because it's a team deal. But this is very personal and very special to me to be able to win here.
Thank you, Dale. Questions will go Mark Garrow, Jeff Gluck, Barry Richmond.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Dale, when Jeff was in here earlier, he said he made it very clear to us I was going to move him. If I got there,
Yeah.
I was going to get him, and he would have to understand that. What was going through your mind knowing that, and was that part of like, look, I've got to put the hammer down and put some laps together so we can't get there?
Exactly. As soon as I got clear of everyone but Tony, I remember going into turn 3 and seeing Tony struggle, and I thought, all right, I got to get by him really fast because he's going to hold me up if I have to run behind him for even a corner. I'm going to have somebody with 4 tires just like me on my bumper, and that's not going to be fun for 3 laps. So I got sort of a run. I really wasn't under Tony, but I think he knew that the position was lost, and he'd give me the inside going into 3. And as soon as we got to the center corner, I just gassed it, and we endured him pretty hard. But I had to go. I couldn't really sit there and run on the inside of him off the corner and down the next straightaway and give up any time to anybody coming behind us like Jeff. I hadn't looked in the mirror since the green dropped till I got by Tony. And then as soon as I passed Tony, I looked up in the mirror, and I saw Jeff was about 4 car lengths back. And I knew that, they said there's 3 laps to go, and I thought, all right, just hit every corner. Don't overhit, don't overdrive the car. Don't try to be the fastest car. Just try to put together the best corner you can and get out of that corner. Get out of the damn corner as hard as you can get out of it. Don't overdrive the center to where you can't exit as well as you can. It's really important to exit as hard as you can. And if I gave him a half a car length a lap, I was going to be able to do that and could afford to do that. He was faster all day. I anticipated him to run us down if the race continued. But I knew in the laps we had left, if I just give him a half a car length a lap, I could run a good enough lap and fast enough lap, he would never get that chance to get to that bumper because I knew he would move us or he would run through us.
Would you have understood that?
I would have been pissed. I mean, hell, I'd have been pissed off. I've come so close here, and I don't want to, I've been passed at the end and lost some races here, and like I said, had some cars that should have won. So it's good.
Let's go to Jeff Gluck.
Jeff Clark from USA Today. How do you view this win in the course of the season? Because, I mean, on the one hand, you're having kind of somewhat of a career year. I mean, 4 wins, and I mean, I know you've had more wins, but just overall consistency. And on the other hand, it's like a disappointment in some ways because you didn't make this round of the chase.
Yeah.
So, like, is this a successful year? Like, how do you look at it?
Yeah, I definitely put it as a successful year. One of the things I'll tell you is we really, kind of think more in the here and now. So I was the chase has been very disappointing, and I remember this team right around when we were winning at Pocono that they were confident. They thought they were, man, we're the best. We're all this work. We feel like we've been working to this point for 5 years with Steve and trying to get going, and it's been this. We've instead of running up the stairs to the top, we've had to take one step a year, and it's finally we're getting to where we're winning some races, and this chase and the disappointment in this chase beat all that success and all that mojo and all that pride and all that, excitement out of these guys, and we all enjoy working together, but still we're all it was unspoken. It's not conversations that we had, but everybody knew it was very disappointing where we were at coming into this weekend. So to win today sort of reminds the team, more importantly than myself. It reminds, I think, the team, the engineers, that what we got's a good thing. Everybody's staying together except for the change in the crew chief, which is, I think, it was unexpected. I expected when one domino falls, usually a few more might fall as well. So we might have to fill some gaps and some holes that'd be very difficult to fill. But everybody said, nope, I'm on board. I'm ready. When Greg's coming, I'm here. And so I think this win really reminded that team and those guys what they're capable of. And, yeah, we've had some bad breaks with the tire at Kansas and just some poor runs where we got outrun. But we can accomplish some really good things and win more races. So I think that was good for them.
How do you reconcile it, though? Because, like, you know, you're supposed to have had – I mean, it almost feels like your season was going this direction. It's going to be like this magical year. And then it's like, well, wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in fairy tales and destiny is it's only destiny in hindsight, you know. So we weren't this wasn't our year. So it's only magical after the fact when you see it happen. Steve, he's ready. I'll see you at the house. So it was awesome. He's excited. But it just wasn't our year, man. So it feels good to get another, it feels good not to sit there and watch everybody else just finish the year off. I'm glad we were able to get a win and, remind ourselves that if we keep working hard, keep trying, maybe we will maybe we will win the championship like we want to. We're definitely a good enough team. We got to get them breaks and you got to keep working. You got to stay positive. You can't get beat down.
Let's go to Barry.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting Corporation. I think you touched on this win, and I was going to ask you the question about being a spoiler, but I believe you've already touched on that. But I will ask you, do you have a place picked out for the clock?
Oh, I'm going to leave that up to Amy where she wants to put it. I was glad to hear her say she thought it was beautiful, so I know it'll get a good place up front somewhere, hopefully in the living room. And I'm going to put it somewhere where I see it every day. I want to put it just inside the front door where you got to walk around the damn thing when you come in the house. But she probably won't let me sit it there.
Go upstairs for some questions. Go ahead, press box.
Lee Spencer, motorsport.com. Talk a little bit about the jerky this week. You were talking about it in the car. You talked about a keg stand. I'm sure you're going to have one hell of a party tonight at the house. So if you do a keg stand, will you please put a picture up on Twitter?
Well, I probably don't have a keg, but we'll have fun. We'll definitely take a picture of all of us having a good time and send it out to everybody. I like jerky. I don't know anybody that doesn't, but and if they do, I look at them funny. But if they don't like jerky, I don't think I can hang out with them. I got me a meat slicer and I got me a dehydrator. I think the dehydrator came from a bus driver, Kenny, for my birthday. I got a industrial meat slicer and I made 2 batches. And I gave some to TJ. He didn't vomit during the race, so and he said it tastes good, so success. So it's pretty easy. You just marinate it, throw it in a dehydrator, and you're good to go. It's the easiest thing. I don't know what the hell I was doing buying jerky all these years.
Go ahead, press box.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Dale, you started 23rd, but at what point this weekend did you know that you had a winning race car? And did Josh Berry's win last night have any extra motivation for you to do as good as you did today?
Yeah, that's a great point. It certainly did. I knew yesterday in the last practice we had a fast car. I think we liked our runs and our times and the way the balance of the car was going. We started the race, and I was a little bit concerned about the balance of the car. It was a little bit tight. We made our first adjustment, and it really worked. So the car was turning great and doing great things. So I was pretty happy with the car right away in the race. We did go to Hickory last night. I haven't been to Hickory since 1999, as far as I can remember. And I haven't watched my late model win a race or even run a race in several seasons. So it was great to see Josh go out there and win. And I listened to him on the radio talk about saving his tires and listen to how mature he was about winning that race and driving that race. And just being in that atmosphere, the smells and the sounds, and watching Phil Parsons try to whoop somebody in the pits, that was pretty funny. Somebody spun his boy out going into turn one, and Phil, anytime anybody had their back turn, Phil was trying to kill this guy in the pits. But it just really brought back a lot of memories about how how grassroots that is, and how damn much fun all those people there are having to be there every week. You get those friendships and camaraderies and fellowship. You park by the same people every weekend. You go to dinner with these folks, and you know what they do for a living, and you just become all these, you really enjoy that company, although you race hard and may fight and feud every once in a while. It's just a great atmosphere, and I don't know that it helped me win today, but it definitely, I came to the racetrack very refreshed, as if I'd had a week vacation or something like that.
Stay at the press box. Go ahead.
Tony Bullock, Courier Tribune. Dale, that last caution, you talked about how this win is personal, and you're out front. There's nothing between you and the victory. How hard was it to be in that cockpit and pull off, give up the lead, and come to pit road to make that call that Steve did to get you the win?
It wasn't hard at all, because staying out on old tires, we were going to lose for sure. Taking 2 tires if nobody else took, 2 tires, and so we got all these guys behind us on 4 tires. We're probably going to get beat. So it was the right call to come get 4. I knew it was. I just had to hope to line up in the right line and get the right circumstances on the restart and be able to get by those guys as quick as we did. It worked out. Sometimes it doesn't, such as, I could have gotten beaten off pit road by somebody and ended up on the outside lane and not have the opportunity to make the moves I made on the inside. Just circumstances could have played it out differently. But I've always run this race, and you get to running really good, and you sort of, about lap 200, you start daydreaming about what it might be like to win, and I just refuse to let myself do that in this particular race. I don't know if that had anything to do with how we ended up winning, but every time I start to drift off and start daydreaming about what it might be like to get the win today, maybe this is the day, I'd shut it down as hard as I could and just get back to whatever the hell was happening on the racetrack. But that was pretty funny.
Go ahead, press box for 2 more, and then we'll come back down here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Dale, with on the restart, the next to last one, I think with about 63 to go, Jeff was on the outside next to Clint. You were restarting third. Did you think about cutting him some slack on that one? He said he thought that one time earlier he had filled the hole on you, and so you might not have wanted to cut him some slack at that point.
Earlier in the, with like 50 laps to go, you still sort of can't burn the rear tires off of it. If we go as hard as we can on sticker tires, as hard as you can, you're going to burn tires off in about 40 laps. And everybody else who's a little bit smarter than you is going to beat you. So it was still a time in that particular moment in the race where I didn't need to push the issue. Jeff was on the outside. Clint got going. We come off of turn 2, and I had a fender under Jeff, but he was coming down like, hey, I want a spot. I want to clear. I want to get in here. And at that particular moment, I didn't see a point in really making a big deal out of it. So I think I let him have that particular spot. But, it just depends. I think at the same time, you don't want to be on the outside on these restarts, and we had a lot of cautions late in the race there as well, so I didn't want to be lining up on the outside of Clint and get trained and lose several other spots. Starting third's not a bad place to be.
I think we have one more, and then we'll come down here. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Dale, you mentioned something about winning. You could care less about all the points now. We love winning races. Winning races is the best thing. We put so much emphasis on the chase and, on the championship, but when you saw the fans out there in the stands and everything, and just how elated that they were for you to win, did it kind of shift the focus, for at least a small bit of time?
To
winning. I mean,
yeah.
It actually means something still in this sport to win a race.
Hell yeah. Yes. That is hell, there's no better feeling that I know of. I haven't won a championship, so I don't know what the hell I'm missing. But this is absolutely incredible. And yeah, we're disappointed we're not in the chase or don't have a chance for the title. But I can't even imagine how that's just too much to even ponder what winning a championship would be like. So I know how fun winning races is and how hard it is to win races, especially at this particular racetrack. How many years we've been coming here and trying to win. So I certainly celebrate it. Definitely appreciate the challenge of it and how difficult it is. And we sort of come out of our shell when we do accomplish things like we accomplished today. But yeah, I mean, winning races is what it's all about. You want the best feeling. You want the best feeling of everybody in the garage. You need to get the checker flag, and yeah, everybody puts so much into it, and you work so hard. We all do. Everybody traveling so damn much and running like crazy. We've been working like hell all year, on and off the track. So definitely feels good to be able to get some victories.
Go to Jenna, then Bob, right there behind you.
Jennifer, AP. Dale, what was it like in Victory Lane with Rick, knowing how much winning here means to him?
I could feel how important it was to him and his embrace when he would hug me. You just know there's a genuine hug and there's a hug. His was a real deal. This is a 10th anniversary, and it's more difficult. You know, the 10th anniversary sort of has you reflecting and remembering, and on other anniversaries you don't really have to remember as much or reflect as much. So, but when it sort of hits these particular anniversaries like the 10th, you feel like you need to stand up and recognize and acknowledge, and you want to. There's a part of you that loves to celebrate those people's lives, but there's the other half of you that can't forget the loss. So I know that I lost, losing my dad was difficult. I can't imagine that loss that he went through, his family went through, the whole organization. That was just all those people at one time. It just has to be unbelievable to have to deal with that. And so I know that he almost doesn't even know, like he said in an interview, whether he wants to come to this race, and he doesn't really know till he wakes up in the morning whether he's going to go. So when I saw him this morning, I was glad he came. I'm always glad when he's mans up and gets out here to the racetrack and gets with his guys. And I've seen Jimmy and Jeff and those guys win on this particular weekend for the company. And I was so proud to be able to do that with my team today and win this race on this challenging weekend for the company. So I know it means a lot to them. They're very hurt, and it's a heavy heart that they carry all weekend, but they want to win the race. I think that's the best outcome that they could expect on this particular weekend. So glad that we were able to do that.
Go to Bob, and then to Jim, and then to Aaron.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Are you surprised when you see Rick here at this track? And then also, when did you get a sense that this when from the time you joined Hendrick Motorsports, was there an immediate sense that this is kind of a more important track than others?
Yeah, I definitely. I think I've paralleled my loss and their loss till I started working with them, and then I started understanding it was quite a bit larger void that it had created, and it very, they do a lot to recognize and remember and celebrate those people's lives. And I think the more the more years, the more time I spent around the organization, the more I started to understand, what this weekend means to the company. They always run good at Martinsville, and they always win here. And like I said, I've seen all the other drivers, even Mark Martin and all those other guys, continue to come here and win races. And I felt like when I started working with Hendrick, I would have a better shot at getting a victory here. And I just, part of me wishes that it hadn't took so long, but the other part of me thinks that the fact that it did take so long makes me appreciate it more and celebrate it.
Let's go over here to Jim Utter, and then we'll take final two right here, Aaron and a man here, Sporting News.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. You've talked this season about kind of appreciating a little bit more and the wins, and particularly in your last year with Steve. When you look back to your career, you talk about you don't know how it is to win a championship. Do you feel like you missed out on anything, even in celebrating the victories or some of the seasons that you've had previously?
Not this year. Yeah, I definitely. I think the reason why we celebrate the wins with real, genuine emotion and elation is because I remember we went to. I remember when we were winning in the Busch Series, we won at Milwaukee, and it was just like we got up to victory lane, and it was just like going through the motions, and. We even looked at each other and said, "Damn, we're winning so much. We almost come to expect it and just go through the hat dance and all that." And it was so young back then, and you thought, "Shit, man, we're just gonna win a lot more races, right?" But it's not easy, and you don't. You don't have all these awesome years where you're just piling up wins and doing, just knocking out, hitting homers every week. So. I think the older you get, and you definitely come to appreciate how challenging it is, how the competition is very difficult, how so many guys are out there capable of winning. And plus, I mean, there's a lot of people wrote me off, and even after winning Daytona, or even after sweeping Pocono, people say that he probably won't win no more. So it's awesome to prove somebody wrong, and that's probably not the top, that's probably not the priority, but I mean, I can't believe 40 years old that I'm still doing this, still successful at it, and still with a great team, maybe the best team I've ever been with. So it just, it's very, it's something that I hope that I can sustain and hopefully be fortunate enough to be with this group for many years, and we might have as good opportunity next year and even the next year after that to try to win a championship. But winning races is a priority because, I don't know that I'd be that damn happy about winning a championship had we not won any races this year. So definitely winning these races is a whole lot of fun.
Take two more questions. We'll go to Aaron and then Daniel.
Aaron Burns, National Speed Sport News, right here to your left, Dale. First, congrats on the win. It's your first win now that you're a 40-year-old man. Can you talk a little bit about where this victory ranks in your career in Sprint Cup, given your history at Martinsville and how much you love it? And also, can you comment on what it's been like to have the success you've had with Steve Letarte since 2011?
Yeah, this ranks way up there. Like I said, trying to get the clock has been something I've thought about and wanted to do. And the history here, short track racing, is something I really love. I think it's not a lost art, but it's definitely not something we get a lot of and do a lot of. This is a great ticket. It's a great racetrack. It's a great place to come see a race. These people here in this area are proud of this racetrack. And so it's great to be able to put my, for the team to put their name on the list, the people who've won here. So it's definitely a good feeling. Working with Steve, just a lot of emotions. I don't know where he's at. I imagine he's holding it together best he can. I know that once we get to Homestead and that sort of end point comes where he knows that this is the last race he's going to crew chief, that's going to be very hard for him. We'll be there to support him and hold him up. He's excited about his opportunity, excited about what he's going to be doing in his future, but I know there's a big part of him that definitely knows, even now today, that he's going to miss what he's doing now. He's going to miss the people and the friendships. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And we'll all probably be bawling like little babies after the race at Homestead. Hopefully we're in Victory Lane. And there'll be all kinds of damn emotions running through us. But I'm just, he was it was great that I got to work with him. He turned my career around. He put a great team together. What he's accomplished is impressive as hell. And I'm overwhelmed with what he's been able to do. He put me in Victory Lane. He's also, like I say, the team he's assembled, incredible group, and that's all Steve. He seems to have evolved into what I think one of the best crew chiefs in the garage.
Well said. Final question.
Daniel Fadden, Sporting News. Two-part question. First, you talked about your father's his clocks that he had at his home. What do you remember about your earliest trip to Martinsville? And second part, what do you have to say to the fans back at Whiskey River in Charlotte who are listening or watching after enjoying an hour of free drinks following your
Yeah,
win?
that's right. Hell yeah. I'm going home to finish what I got in the cooler. I hope they enjoyed their day. You know, I think that Whiskey River's. I go to Whiskey River for lunch, and I think it's a great place to hang out. Especially, I can't imagine. I'm sort of envious of the people that get to go watch, you know, NFL games and hang out on Sunday and watch the races. It's got to be a blast to do that. What was the first part of your question? Your earliest memory of coming here. I remember wearing panel knit sweatshirts, and they were a sponsor of the race. They were also a sponsor of Buddy Arrington's Ford. And we used to, guys would bring their race cars on the open trailer, and they'd park the trailer up against the wall or up against the fence in the corner, and we used to climb on top of them trailers, or them, me and Brad Means and Scott Williams, Doug Williams' boy, and Mike Wickham, Bob Wickham's son. We'd all, even Jason Jarrett and a couple other guys, we would run around and run all over the garage and just do whatever we felt like doing. It was such a fun time, looking for somewhere to get a good seat, somewhere to watch the race. And we wanted to be in the corner so we could watch the guys go through the corner. Watching a car, I think the best seat in the house is down there in 3 and 4, or in 1 and 2 in the stall, in the pit box. Getting up on top of that car, as you can see it working through the corner here. I remember when I was a kid and they'd go out and practice. Dad and Dave Marcus and all those guys were out there practicing, and you could get so close to the track you could actually watch the car and tell how the car handled. You know, you were so close to it, you could see the car, you know, either a little bit loose in or not turning well in the middle, and you could watch guys that were getting through the center of the corner. And I remember that. We always wanted to be as close to it as we could, and this was a great place to do that.
Well, Dale, congratulations.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
this
guys.
win.
Yeah, I will.
We'll see you at
Y'all
Texas.
have a good trip home.